The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and take care of it. And the Lord God commanded the man, "You are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, for when you eat from it, you will certainly die." In chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more crafty than any of the wild animals the Lord God had made. He said to the woman, "Did God really say, 'You must not eat from any tree in the garden'?" The woman said to the serpent, "We may eat fruit from the trees of the garden, but God did say, 'You must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it, for you will die.'" "You will not certainly die," the serpent said to the woman, "for God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." When the woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food, and pleasing to the eye, and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took some and ate it. She also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they realised they were naked, so they sewed fig leaves together and made coverings for themselves. Then the man and his wife heard the sound of the Lord God as he was walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and they hid from the Lord God among the trees in the garden. But the Lord God called to the man, "Where are you?" He answered, "I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." And he said, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree that I commanded you not to eat from?" The man said, "The woman you put here with me, she gave me some fruit from the tree, and I ate it." Then the Lord God said to the woman, "What is this you have done?" The woman said, "The serpent deceived me, and I ate." So the Lord God said to the serpent, "Because you have done this, cursed are you above all livestock and all wild animals. You will crawl on your belly, and you will eat dust all the days of your life. And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel." To the woman he said, "I will make your pains in childbearing very severe. With painful labour you will give birth to children. Your desire will be for your husband, and he will rule over you." To Adam he said, "Because you listened to your wife and ate fruit from the tree about which I commanded you, you must not eat of it. Cursed is the ground because of you. Through painful toil you will eat food from it all the days of your life. It will produce thorns and thistles for you, and you will eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your brow you will eat your food, until you return to the ground, since from it you were taken. For dust you are, and to dust you will return."
As we continue our Life Beyond the Seven Deadly Sins series this week, I just want to start with a question. What heights are you trying to reach as you pursue a flourishing life? Whatever your picture is of a good life, the best life, a flourishing life, what are you reaching for in life? Now, in this series, we're sort of thinking about the good life that God made for us, the good life pictured as a fruitful life, and what it looks like for us to reach high for this life that we're made for, this life that God has made us to enjoy, the most fruitful life possible. But here's this problem, because pride comes in and turns this fruitful life that God has made us for into this ladder of success, this ladder where we're always trying to reach new heights, always measuring ourselves with how we're going against other people around us. It's the kind of ladder of success that this Strongbow ad pictured a few years ago. I don't know if you remember seeing this. There's these two women who are there picking fruit. One woman's tall, another woman's really short. And the short one just can't pick as much fruit as the tall one. She can't keep up. And so she keeps on complaining. She says, it's not fair. There's no way I can measure up to you. I'm not as tall as you are. I just can't keep up. It's a great ad. It's a great picture of what pride is like for us. Because we are made for this fruitful life. But pride comes and turns everything on its head. It turns good things that we were made for into these awful things that just consume us. So pride in our family or pride in our relationships is so deadly. When pride eats away at us because we don't get the love or maybe the appreciation we feel like we deserve, we become these angry, demanding people. Or pride can infect our attitude towards new experiences. You know, when pride festers away, it makes us pursue just whatever makes us feel happy. Whatever experience will make me feel good. Pride can infect our attitude to work and success. It might look like just trying to get more money, but a lot of the time it's more about our performance. You know, what are people going to think of me? Do they value what I do? Do I measure up to them? Or maybe it's just the performance, not in other people's eyes, but trying to live up to our own standards, our own expectations of what we're supposed to do and the work we're meant to be achieving. Look, I can honestly say that's something I struggle with, I reckon, when it comes to the things I do, my work, my performance. Sometimes I'm very quick to just compare myself with other people I see around me, perhaps even other people who I think are particularly gifted or particularly good at one thing, and I sometimes look at them and go, well, how come I'm not like that? What's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? You know, behind that, it's pride. It's deadly to me, it's deadly to the people around me. That feeling, gee, I wish I was just better. I wish I could do it like they do. I reckon in church circles, pride for us is so often caught up with our desire to be godly people. But the problem comes in when we start, comparing ourselves with other Christians around us, or when we wonder why other Christians seem to have it all together. And we ask that question, well, how come I don't live life like they seem to? They seem to have it all right. They seem to have it together. What's wrong with me then? See, pride is so deadly for us. In so many different avenues in life, in so many of our relationships, pride is that thing that comes in and infects it and makes it horrible. And so far this series, we've been thinking about this new life that Jesus has made us for, the death of that I-centered life, and the start of this new life in Christ, and how this means walking away from the old way of life, from selfish ambition, that's pride, walking away from the old way of life and living out the new life that Jesus has made us to live. As we think about pride today, I wonder if maybe we need to rethink this latter thing altogether and its place in our life. So I don't know if you're a fan of wrestling at all. If you are, I'm sorry. To me, there's not many things quite as ridiculous as the WWE, the World Wrestling Entertainment. Key word being entertainment, because it really is all fake. It's all just acting, make-believe. But if you're not familiar with it, if you've never watched it before, often you get these superstars who come out to battle it out and to see who's going to be the winner. And in the WWE, there's one particular fight where they're trying to reach the top of this ladder. They literally have to climb to the top of this ladder to win the prize. And if you reach the belt at the top, you win. You're on top of the world. Which might sound easy enough, but the only problem is you're competing against all these other fellas who are also trying to get to the top of the ladder. And so that often means you might be there thinking you've hit the top, hit that peak, and then some other bloke comes up underneath you and topples you off that ladder. Ooh. You could be right at the very top, just about to reach your goal, and all of a sudden everything comes falling down. Well, I don't know if you are familiar with the WWE or not, but today as we think about pride, I want you to think of this kind of as a picture of what our pride does to the people in our lives, to the people around us. When we put ourselves in that place at the top of the ladder, it hurts others. And it ends up meaning we just push people around and push people below us. It's the kind of attitude the New Testament talks about a lot, especially in Philippians. These words here in this verse, which turns that whole pride attitude completely upside down. When Paul writes, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves." Not climbing up the ladder, not self-glorification, not self-exaltation. It's the complete opposite of this picture. Friends, this series is really about us coming to terms with our sin and seeing how often sin is twisting something that's good, something good that God has made us for, that we twist out of shape and it becomes bad for us. It becomes deadly for us. That's exactly what pride is like. Because the thing is, we were made to achieve. God had made us to flourish, to pursue success. He made us to be exalted and glorified. We were made to climb the ladder in one sense, to enjoy fruitful lives and to grow in our fruitful life, to reach those new heights that God made us for. But we're meant to do this on God's terms, not our own. In this bit of Genesis that Bloss just read for us before, we were hearing how God made, right at the beginning, God made Adam and Eve to be gardeners. He put them in this garden to tend it, to look after it. They were meant to be these gardeners who helped to see the world flourish, to help to spread fruitful lives, not just in the Garden of Eden, but across the ends of the earth as they be fruitful and multiply. They're meant to keep on going out and spread that fruitfulness. It's a beautiful picture, a life of amazing freedom, amazing possibilities. God says to Adam and Eve, you are free to eat from any tree in the garden. It's a beautiful picture of the good life God made for us to enjoy. Now we've spent a bit of time looking at verses like this, especially at our series last term in Bible in 10. But I guess I wonder sometimes when we read Genesis, particularly chapters 2 and 3, how often do we kind of just zone in on this one tree we weren't meant to eat from? This one ladder we weren't meant to climb, this idea to not flourish under God, but instead that desire to want to flourish without God. You know, we might think that the WWE is a little bit ridiculous, this play acting, how fake it is. How ridiculous for Adam and Eve to think they could be God. And to think that there's any picture, any possibility of the fruitful life outside of God. You know, that pride, that temptation to be like God. And the foolishness, because they already were when God made them in His image. They were made to be like God, to live the way that He lives and to love as He loves. But this temptation to come along, not just really to be like God, but actually the desire to be God, to take God's place. Here's sin. Here's that deadly pride. It's not just being a lawbreaker. Sin is so much worse than that. Sin is being a lawmaker. It's saying, I want to call the shots on life. I want to decide what's good and pleasing and desirable for me. God isn't the one who's going to set the rules. I want to do it. That's exactly what Adam and Eve do. We know the story. They devour the fruit, and pretty soon they're devouring each other. It's pride. You probably know the saying, the pride comes before the fall, right? Well, that's exactly what happens in Genesis. Pride comes before the fall. Because Adam and Eve can't topple God. They can't just overthrow His rule. And instead of them ascending up the ladder, ascending the heights that they so wanted, instead it's us as humans who come crashing down. We return to the ground, to the dust that God made us from the highest heights that were made, now banished to dust. To dust you will return, God says. And from that moment onwards, from this very first deadly pride, from this original sin spreads all these other sins. All these other sins we're going to be looking at in this series, anger and envy and gluttony, all of these other sins really stem from this very first sin, pride. I don't know if you remember last week, we were thinking about how the fruitful life, the fruit of the Spirit, is a singular thing, remember? The passage in Galatians 5 doesn't talk about fruits of the Spirit, it just talks about the fruit of the Spirit, which means, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness. All of these things aren't things you can sort of pick and choose and say, well, this is the kind of thing I reckon God has gifted me for. I'm not so good at the others, I won't worry about them. Well, the picture of the fruitful life is that all of these things, all of this fruit is the fruit that God is growing in us by His Spirit. They're not just different things disconnected. They're all connected to each other. And in a way, we can think about sin like that as well. That sin in our life isn't just disconnected pockets that don't relate. Well, in a lot of ways, it's the sin of pride that leads to every other sin. It's that sin of pride that infects everything else. So I don't know, you could think about it like how pride leads to anger. When people don't give you what you want, and you feel, I deserve that. And so you become angry, you become demanding. And if they don't listen to you, you just sort of sit back in silent resentment. You just stay bitter with people. Pride and anger, the two go hand in hand. Or pride and envy, when you're always comparing yourself with other people around you. Maybe feeling great that you're doing better than others, or maybe despairing because you wish you had what they had. And pride is at the heart of both of those attitudes. Or what about pride and lust? When people in the world become objects for you to take, to consume, to enjoy for your own pleasure. What about pride and gluttony? When you feel like the world is just there to consume. Pride and sloth when you think other people should be the ones who are doing the work for you. You get to chill out and do nothing. They're the ones who pick up the slack. Or pride and greed. When you believe that you're more entitled to things than others are. Pride really is the root of all of these other sins, all these other problems that plague our lives, all these other issues that so plague our world today. Pride kills. It's that attitude that leads to so many other sins, and it is a sin in itself. That desire to just pursue a picture of a fruitful life on your own terms, not God's. It's deadly and it's destructive and it destroys us. So the question is, how do we change? There really is no one who doesn't struggle with this stuff. There really is none of us who can say, I'm just not a prideful person. But what does it actually look like to change our hearts so we aren't so ruled and defined by this pride, but instead by humility, by generosity, by a sense of selflessness? What does it look like to change? How do we put to death that I life and instead live out that new life that Christ has made us for? I don't know if you remember last week we were talking about how rules are so powerless to change us. Remember that picture of Jonathan Thurston game tour of the State of Origin, right there to do that conversion. How useless it would be if he had just a rule on his wall saying, you must kick that ball through the goalposts. How useless a rule like that is to actually bring any kind of change, to bring any kind of effect. No, we know that the only way Jonathan Thurston is going to kick that ball through those posts is because he trains hard, because he works really, really hard at getting good at doing what he's meant to do. We see it so clearly in examples like this, but it's so funny. I don't know about you, but in my own life, how often I end up thinking like rules could actually change my heart. So times when maybe I'm struggling with stuff I'm trying to change, and maybe I'm starting to beat myself up and I'm going, I can't just keep doing that. I've got to stop it. As if some kind of rule like that I tell myself is going to do anything to my heart. Or maybe those times where I'm a little bit more positive and I'm sort of thinking of mustering up the strength in me and saying, I know I can do this. I've just got to try harder next time. I don't know how you feel, if that resonates with you, but I know in my own life how useless it is to try and live my life under the banner of these rules that don't do anything in here in my heart. And the worst thing of all is most of the time when I'm living like that, that's actually pride talking. Pride that thinks if I'm good enough, I can do it. Pride that treats sin like some easy fix. Don't go too deep with things. Just stay on the surface level. Just try your best to change your behaviour. Pride makes me want to avoid looking deep in my heart and going, what's actually going on beneath the surface? See, pride can't change us on the inside. Rules can't change us on the inside. Only Jesus can. It's what Jesus has done for us that gives us the power to break that deadly cycle of pride, to switch pride, that selfish ambition, for humility, to take up our new life in Jesus by being like Jesus. See, Jesus gives us this great vision for a life without pride. Where we love this idea of being like God, or we love this idea of taking God's place, calling the shots in our life, and where that drove us to just take for ourselves, Jesus is so different. Jesus, though he is God, Philippians 2 tells us that Jesus is God. He is exactly like God, but he did the exact reverse to us. He didn't take, he didn't grasp, he didn't reach for that top rung of the ladder. He could have done that, but he didn't. Instead, he became a servant for us. That's what makes Jesus so different. That's what makes Jesus so different from any other human being and different from any other so-called God. Because every other God, every other religion says, well, what can you do for me? That's every other God in every other religion. Jesus doesn't ask that question. Jesus says, look what I've done for you. I've done it all. I've done everything. I love this scene in the gospel story in John. There's Jesus with his disciples. You can imagine it. It's been a long day travelling for them. They've been doing ministry all around Judea. They're tired. They've come home to put their feet up after a really long day. And their feet are covered in all of this muck. All the dirt, all the dust, all the muck from the roads they've been travelling on. It's all over their smelly and sweaty feet. And then all of a sudden, Jesus gets down on his knees and starts cleaning their feet. And some of the disciples pipe up and go, Jesus, what are you doing? There's a pail of water over there. We can clean our own feet. And Jesus says to them, no, you don't understand. I'm trying to show you something. Yeah, you could clean your feet. I'm doing this for you to show you that I'm not just here to clean you on the outside. I've come to clean you up on the inside. And only I can do that for you. Jesus, he is such a servant in every situation. What about that other time when Jesus is there, he's speaking to Peter, he's telling Peter that his mission, his whole mission, the whole reason for him being here on earth is to come and to die. And Peter's going, no way is that true. You're the Messiah. You're the Lord. You're the King. You don't come to die. You come to rule. And remember what Jesus says to Peter. He says, get behind me, Satan. Such strong words, but true words, because everything that Peter was saying was so opposite to the mission he'd actually come for. Jesus had come as a servant, and he will not be deterred from his path. He'll be a servant right to the very end. And so there's Jesus on the cross. There's Jesus dying, surrounded by not people who are there who love him and care for him and support him and who are with him in this horrible hour of grief and pain. No. He's surrounded by people who mock him, People who hate him and who insult him and spit on him. People who say, what a joke. This guy, he did so many miracles. Look how helpless he is on the cross. He can't even save himself. And what's Jesus thinking in that moment? I know what I'd be thinking if I were up there on the cross. I'd be going, well, maybe I should just come down and teach these people a lesson. I'll show them who's boss. No, not Jesus. He stays on the cross because he is a servant right to the very end. Yeah, Jesus gives us an incredible picture, an incredible vision of the humble life, a powerful example of death to pride and life to humility. It's incredible, and it's no wonder so many people today look at Jesus and think, even if they're not religious, even if they're not Christian, look at Jesus and go, yeah, he really was a great example for us, a great picture of life. If more people in the world lived like Jesus, the world would be a better place. And that's true. But it's not Jesus' example that fixes the problem in our hearts. As incredible a life Jesus lived, it isn't his example that fixes our pride. The message of the gospel isn't, here's what Jesus has done. Now you go and do the same. You go and do your bit. Just like a rule on the wall is completely useless to change Jonathan Thurston when it comes to kicking a goal. Well, Jesus' life, Jesus' example on its own is powerless to change our hearts. The power for us to change doesn't come from Jesus' example on its own. The power to change comes from Jesus' sacrifice for us. Jesus dying in our place. Jesus giving us a status that we don't deserve when we're guilty before God for all the sin and the pride in our hearts. And Jesus comes and steps in for us, the one who was perfect and innocent and never committed any wrong. And he dies in our place and gives us this incredible status. We are righteous in God's eyes. Incredible. We have forgiveness. And we didn't do anything for it. We didn't have to earn it. And how futile it is for us to even attempt to live our life thinking like our growth and our change in life is anything to do with us. It's entirely what Jesus has done. Now what God does for Jesus, not just in raising him from the dead, but also in exalting Jesus to the highest place, well, that's exactly what happens to us. God who took us nobodies and made us something incredibly significant, made us somebodies in God's eyes, precious and so dearly loved. We are his children. Now, Jesus, he was the Son of God. And through him, we become sons and daughters of God, children of God. How precious to know that. So when I do struggle with sin, and when I do come before God, I don't speak to God saying, yeah, God, I know I've stuffed up. I'll try harder next time. I know I can do it. How incredible to know we have a God who loves us so deeply that there is nothing that we can do to change whether or not we are his children if we trust in him. No matter the sin in our hearts, he has bought us and brought us into his family. That's something safe and secure, something that nothing in this world can ever take from us. It's beautiful, blameless and pure in his sight. For as long as we hold firmly to this word of life, hold firmly to this gospel, this truth. This is what Jesus has made us for. This is the incredible life we were made to enjoy. This great place before God. There is no other achievement we could get in this world that could at all compare to God saying, you are my child and you belong to me. And you'll be with me forever. And yet, sin in our hearts somehow makes us think there's something else that could be better. There's something else we can get in life that could top what God has got for us. This is where real fruitfulness is. This is the ladder. It's the cross. This is the way to the Father. It's the way for us to enjoy the life God has made for us. And so, friends, this morning I wonder, what does that mean for us in terms of the habits in our life? If we know this is true, and if we're believing in Jesus and we're trusting in Him, how does that start to change the habits that we form around us? What does it mean to pursue this fruitful life that cultivates the fruit of the Spirit in our hearts and not the poisonous fruits of pride? What does it mean to keep on turning from selfish ambition to humility, from pride to humility, from our own interests to the interests of others? What does it look like for us to live that one another life that God made us for? What does that look like? And for starters, I reckon if we're holding firmly to this word of life, if we're holding firmly to who God has made us to be and the people God has made us in Jesus, then I reckon it means we don't see difference as a threat. It means I won't look around at the gifts and abilities that other people have and see that as a threat to me. Because I can say, well, I know God is the giver of gifts, so I can be content in who I am and how God has made me to be. I can give thanks for other people around me who are really gifted and good at doing things. And I can also give thanks that if they are using their gifts in the body of Christ, then that's going to benefit me too. That's going to benefit all of us. If they're using their gifts to serve the body, then that's going to affect me. I'm going to benefit from the fruitfulness in their life. And if we're all doing that, then fruitfulness is going to spread. It's a beautiful picture of what community could be like. That servant heart where everyone gives. It's a great picture. I guess another thing is if I am someone who has strength or resources or particular gifts, or maybe I can use what I have to raise others up, to use the strength that I have to give other people a leg up, to help others to reach new heights, and in doing that to be exactly like Jesus. Jesus who does everything, who gave His everything to raise up others. See, I reckon in all of our relationships, it's Jesus who gives us those resources to keep drawing from. The resources, that means I can be a giver in my relationship with others, not a taker. And because Jesus loves me so much, I can give love freely without demanding from others that they meet all my needs. All of my needs have been met in Jesus Christ. And that so frees me to not relate to others for what I can get out of them, but just for what I can give. Well, that's one way, I guess, that we can change habits so that pride isn't so infecting all of our relationships with each other. What about pride and experiences? What are some habits that we can have that can help us there? If you're someone who loves new experiences, whether it's health or fitness or hobbies, whatever it is, well, maybe one thing you could do is to bring others along with you. To take up new challenges together, to enjoy the good world that God has made, and do that with others. So it's not that selfish life of me taking things for me that I can enjoy, but instead it's sharing that joy with others and giving thanks with others for what God has given for us to enjoy in this world. A sense of adventure, seeing life as an adventure, something for us to enjoy together. Maybe that's a good reason we come along to the scavenger hunt next week. I'm sure it'll be an adventure. I'm sure Heidi's planned a great adventure for us. What about for work? Pride and work, it so easily slips in. And it could be that greed for more and more stuff. But sometimes when it comes to work, when it comes to money, it's just that need for security, isn't it? That sense of, I need the money not because I just love spending it on all these lavish things, but because I need to save it up in case everything in life goes pear-shaped. My life, my trust in life is in my money. if that is you, a great habit to practice is generosity. Work out what it means for you and for your family to give generously to others, so that desire for security in money doesn't have such a firm grip. If you're being generous, then you can't be trusting in your money for security in life. I knew a guy a couple of years ago. He worked on the staff team with us at Creek Road. He was a really talented guy. He gave up a really successful career in finance. He could have made loads of cash. He gave it up because he wanted to work at church and because he wanted to focus his life on seeing treasures for heaven. And he wanted to store up real treasure in heaven, people who know Jesus. And he's an incredibly generous guy. He worked at Creek Road, Carina for a couple of years, and then he packed up house and moved with his family out to Warwick to help a struggling church out there. I look at this fella and see an incredible picture of a life of generosity, a life of giving. Yeah, he could have grabbed onto that money. He didn't. What about that pride that so infects us in church? Where that pride that infects our pursuit of godliness, where we look around at others, we so quickly compare, or we so quickly look around to the people in our church family and seek them out for that sense of approval, that sense of, that need for their affirmation. I'm doing okay only as long as other people are praising me and lifting me up and encouraging me. If that's you, that's definitely something to confess. And friends, I've got to confess, that nails me. There's so many times in my life where my sense of happiness, my sense of joy, my sense of contentment in what I'm doing comes more out of whether or not I reckon other people would think I'm doing a good job or not. That's something I've got to confess, and something I've got to keep confessing. I was really thankful. It was a couple of weeks ago. I was speaking to a friend of mine and talking about struggles I was having with a particular person, and it was really good, that moment where he said, "I'm hearing you, Josiah, but I wonder if there's pride going on for you in that." He was really honest, really upfront, and I really appreciated it because I couldn't see that. And I trusted him, and when he was sharing that, I thought, I think that's true. There is pride going on for me there, and that helps me to relate differently to that person I'm struggling with. We all need people like that. People that we can speak to, people that listen to us and hear us and understand us, but people who actually really can speak honestly and tell you when there's sin going on and when you're blind to it. Because if there's any sin at all that makes us blind, it's pride. Pride is so blinding for us, and that's why we need others. That's why we need others in the church family who can be that part to help us to struggle with it and to journey through it together. I reckon one other great habit for us that helps us to kill pride, it's thankfulness. Thankfulness is a great antidote to that false humility. You know what it's like when maybe someone encourages you and you go, "Oh, no, it's no big deal. I didn't do anything." That false humility, that's really just pride talking. Thankfulness is a great antidote to that, because when we give thanks, we're giving thanks for God and what He's doing. We're giving thanks that this is everything that God is doing, and acknowledging that whatever good you do, that's a good work that God has prepared in advance for you to do. So thankfulness to God for what He's doing in you, thankfulness to God for what He's doing in others. It's a great way to kill pride in our hearts. A great way to keep God at the top of the ladder in our life. And us giving glory to Jesus, the one who climbed down the ladder for us. Jesus, the one who gave up everything for us in order to raise us up with Him.